Alright, so I'm going to demonstrate how we were going to do an ear swab cytology. So we have our 2 ear swabs, and typically what I do right after I have taken a swab from the left ear is I'm going to break my stick to kind of make an L shape so that I don't get confused which swab was from my left ear, which swab was from my right ear. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my microscope slide, and with my left ear swab that I have broken into the shape of an L, I am just going to roll it gently. You don't want to rub it because that's going to disrupt the cells, so you just want to gently roll it, and I create a capital L shape so that when I'm looking at my ear slide under the microscope, I am able to tell which side is from my left ear and which side is from my right ear. So then I'm going to do the same thing with the ear swab from my right ear, but instead make a capital R. And again, we don't want to scrub that one there because we don't want to disrupt the cells. So I just gently roll back and forth. Now, this may not show up very well on camera, but I have my L and then I have my capital R. So the next thing that I'm going to do is you're going to take a lighter and you're just going to heat fix on the bottom to heat fix those earwax to the top of your slide. So, and you're just going to go back and forth pretty quickly, and you don't have to do that for very long, for just a second or two. So then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to dip that into our stain so that we can fix the wax and the cells onto a microscope slide for your technician or doctor to later view it under a microscope. So let me show you that. So let's go over our diff quick real quick. So at our clinic, we have 2 different sets of diff quick. They're made up of the same liquid portions, but we have one that we will use for blood cytologies and for FNAs, so fine needle aspirates, if we take a sample from like a cyst that a patient has on them. And then we have what we call our ears and rears. So when we take it from the ears, and then when we take it from a stool sample, we dip it into the same one. And we just do that so that we don't cross-contaminate too much. Usually in our practice, we will change our diff quick once a week, and that may vary a little bit from practice to practice, but I think typical standards is about once a week. So your first stain is going to be kind of a light blue color, and this is going to be your fixative. And then your second stain is going to be your eosinophilic stain, and then that's going to be red. And then your third stain is going to be a basophilic, and it looks, a lot of times in textbooks or articles, they'll call it the blue stain, but it actually looks a little bit more purple, maybe dark blue in color, but oftentimes it has kind of more of a purple appearance. So this set is for our blood and FNAs, so I am going to be using the one that we use for our ears and rears. So it's in a white container, so you can't see it like you could with the other one, but it's still the same thing. We've got our light blue, which is the fixative, the red, the eosinophilic, and then our basophilic, which is that dark blue or purple. So what I'm going to do is in each one, I'm going to dip it for 1 second, 10 times. So 10 1-second dips. So we're just going to do 1, and ours have grids on the sides, so sometimes it's hard to get it in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you're just going to lightly tap off the excess. And then in our second stain, we're going to do the same thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, getting caught on my grids, 8, 9, and 10. And then lightly tap off the excess. And then we're going to do the same thing with the last one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And tap off the excess. So from here, we can either go over to the sink and rinse this off with some tap water, or sometimes what we do here is we just have a bottle of distilled water, and standing over top of a trash can, we just rinse it off. So that's what I'm going to do here. So you can see it's got all of my stain on the slide. I'm just going to rinse that off real quick into the trash can. And you're just going to rinse the back of the slide and the front of the slide. Now this patient didn't have super waxy ears, so your slide is going to look like it doesn't have much on it, which is fine. It actually did stick to the slide, and once your technician or doctor goes to view that under the microscope, they will be able to see that cellular and potentially bacteria and yeast on that slide. But if their ears aren't particularly waxy or gunky, then you're just not going to see much on your slide. If this patient had had very waxy ears, we would be able to see where we had stained that left and right side. So from here, since our slide is quite wet, we just need to let it dry before we can take it over to our microscope stand. So I just have a tray right here that I'm going to let my microscope slide dry upside down, and then once it's dry, my technician or my doctor can come over and read it on the microscope. I will note also that until your technician or doctor has had a chance to evaluate the ear cytology under a microscope, do not throw your ear swabs away, because just in case you do end up having to make another slide, the slide gets lost, accidentally thrown away or something, you don't want to have to re-swab the ears of your patient, especially if their ears are very painful or they're aggressive. So what I usually will do is I will hold on to the slide, not the slide, but the ear swabs, and I'll put it on top of a piece of paper or a napkin that just has the patient's name on it. And again, we have the broken L one, so we know it's the left, and then the one that isn't broken is the right. So if I have to come back to it, I can easily identify which one's which. And that's how we will set up for an ear cytology.